Well, hi, Streaming Wasteland. If you were curious, well, why the fuck we're talking about food, it's because this week we watched the Greg on Hulu.
It's true.
Oh,
I even
sorry,
wore
the
the
Bear.
shirt for it.
He did. He's representing.
Yes.
It's a TV show all about Greg.
It is not, because I do not have the temperament to deal with anything that happens in the bear.
Yeah, I don't think either of us do. But yeah,
Do not
Greg
have
called
that
it.
kind of patience.
Yeah, dude, the second someone the second Richie walked into the restaurant, I'd be like, I quit. I'm done. Fuck this.
Yeah, fine. It's your fucking restaurant now. You deal
You
with
go.
Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah, you go pay back all the debt.
Enjoy, dipshit. I just sold my denim to buy meat for this place, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
But yeah, Streaming Wasteland, I'm your Uncle Ringo, and with me as always is Greg. Say hi, Greg.
We need a system,
Chef, hands,
chef.
chef.
Yeah, and this week we're talking about episode 1 of The Bear, called System.
Dude, the next time my wife is cooking, I'm just gonna run into the kitchen and go, Chef, hands, corner,
Behind,
stroke,
behind.
stroke.
There's a episode of New Girl when they're having two of the characters having like a cake bake off, and even though they're in a tiny little apartment kitchen, they're yelling behind at each other the whole time. Behind, 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 behind.
Hey, behind. Really? Okay.
Behind.
Behind. Whoa, behind. Behind.
I need to sit down and watch that. My wife enjoyed it.
It's a great show. But yeah, The Bear is basically the most intense possible version of the Great British Bake Off. Like, the Great British Bake Off is all friendly,
Dude, yeah.
and people get handshakes. In this, you get fist fights, and you kind of want to punch Cousin Richie.
Right? Well, and, hey, audience, if you haven't watched The Bear, just a couple heads up, trigger warnings here. There is, it's not suicide attempt, but someone does say, you should probably unalive yourself. Then we've got just slight misogyny, a little bit of smoking going on here and there, fire and blood. I don't know. Is there anything that I'm missing on this?
I mean, there's a lot of language in here that's not ideal, but I am pretty sure, like, it's one of those things I wonder where they're like, oh, we don't want kids watching this, but like, what kid would tune into this show? Like, who would watch the preview and be like, that looks fun, when the Ninja Turtles are right there?
The kid that's absolutely going to beat Gordon Ramsay one day.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, but in that case, he already knows, because Gordon Ramsay's out there being like, you fucking donkey! And so anything they do in this show, he's just like, that's not real.
You're not mean enough.
Gordon would have had it fixed in 3 days. I've seen every episode of Kitchen Nightmares on YouTube.
They're like, you're not mean enough.
They don't even censor the swears. They don't censor the swears.
But yeah, Greg wanted me to go ahead and watch The Bear. I've had some people point out The Bear for me. I just haven't had time for it, and I finally made time when we decided we were going to go ahead and add this to Streaming Wasteland. And holy fuck, man, this is just, I've been missing out.
Yeah, it's fucking, the show's intense, huh?
Yeah.
But like intense good. Like, nothing happy is happening in either one of the first 2 episodes, and you're still sitting there like, oh, I want to see how this turns out. Like,
right? Well, and like, audience, just to give you guys a little bit more of a heads up, we've kind of been talking about this for a while now, and we decided that we're going to go ahead and hit like an episode or 2 for every episode that we put out. And like the first 2 episodes were just like nonstop. You don't catch a fucking break.
Yeah. We're focused on episode 1 first, and then we'll cut over to episode 2. But in case you haven't seen The Bear, it stars Jeremy Allen White as Carmi Berzato, Eben Moss Backrack as Richie, Ao Edebri as Sydney, Lionel Boyce as Marcus, Lisa Colon Zayas as Tina, Abby Elliott as Sugar Berzato, Maddie Matheson as Neil, but they call him Fack throughout the whole thing. Edwin Lee Gibson as Ibrahim, and Corey Hendricks as Gary. There are, of course, a variety of side characters, but just since this is episode 1 of this little series, I'm introducing the whole main cast, and then we'll talk about guest stars as they come up.
But yeah, it starts off, and we get to go ahead and see our main character Carmine like stressing the fuck out.
Carmi.
He's dealing with a bunch of what you can tell is a bunch of bills. He doesn't have enough food for what he's dealing with. We don't know what the hell's going on because we're just kind of like thrown into this moment here, and then
the show literally opens with him being attacked by a bear in his dreams.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, roll credits. There's the bear. Like, we're done. Man, shortest show ever. 2 minutes.
Well, you didn't tell me that you had a cameo.
I don't want people to know I'm famous. People start acting differently. But yeah, like you start off and right off the bat, he gets this small delivery of meat. It's like a cooler's worth of meat, like what you or I might barbecue for like a large party.
Yo, 25 pounds?
25? No, I ordered 200.
Paid for 25. Take it up a loop.
Right. And he's just like, this isn't enough. And they're like, well, this is what you paid for. And so he has to go sell a bunch of denim that he has to fucking pay for more meat.
Didn't he like weather them too to make them look like they were World War II adjacent?
Yeah, he's definitely like weathering the fucking stuff so it looks older so that he could sell it for more money. But yeah, he doesn't even get the meat he wants. He has to get the meat bone in, which means it cooks longer. And like this whole time he's dealing with like Tina and Ibrahim and Marcus to a certain extent are all kind of busting his balls about, you worked in your fancy kitchens, but this place is our kitchen. Like, what the fuck are you even doing here, Carmi? And we learn that, his brother has passed away and that he left the restaurant to Carmi. I don't know how that all works. Like, I don't know if there was a will or if he just told somebody, like, but either way, but yeah, they're all like, all three of them are kind of being dicks to Carmi, and
you cut vegetables like a bitch. Don't wipe your hands on your apron, chef.
We kind of get the background that Carmi is also a world-class chef, that he's a James Beard Award winner. I think it's in episode 2 that they say he was like on Food and Wine's like 30 under 30. Basically, we get the sense that he is a talented fucking chef. And he's here running this. I mean, I guess we should talk about it. I believe it's called Original Beef at this point in Chicago. But it is effectively like a sandwich / diner shop. It seems like they're famous for their beef sandwiches, or they're about to be. And otherwise, they make spaghetti and things like that, and that's a big sticking point a little bit later in the show.
Just make it easy and make the fucking spaghetti.
Don't say spaghetti. All these knives are dull. I never said I couldn't figure out the spaghetti. I said it doesn't make any sense on this menu, so it is done. The end.
But yeah, if Tina and Ibrahim, who were left over from the brothers regime, weren't enough, and Marcus, then we get fucking Richie coming in, and cousin Richie is just a fucking prick in this episode. He degrades Carmi. He tries to undermine him every chance he gets, or even overmine him, right? Like, nobody listen to him. We're doing things my way, like that sort of shit. And they, dude, the thing that pissed me off is they knock Carmi's good knife on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude. I saw that and I was like, with those the sirens going off, stab him.
Yeah.
Fucking stab him. Do it.
Here, 1 second. We're just trying to get some work done here. Capiche? Hold on. This dude from the hot dog stand? This is his twin brother. Fucking lying. Which I found out later. But at this point, I think it's the guy from the hot dog.
Just like, and the bear turns into like a whole new thing, But yeah, thankfully Carmi does get like help in a way, because he totally forgot he scheduled an interview with the Sydney, who's going to be like helping out around the place. He brings her on as an intern and tasks her with, or it's not an intern, I don't remember what they call it, but it's like stage or something like that, which is basically a week-long trial.
Yeah.
He brings her on as an intern, tasks her with cooking family meal. I've never worked in a restaurant before, not this type of restaurant. I did pizza delivery, but I'm not counting that as culinary experience. But yeah, apparently family meal is what the restaurant workers eat before the restaurant is open, or between when the restaurant is open and closed. So this is something I learned about from Josh Weissman, of all people. He talked about family meal when he went and cooked at like the restaurants he learned in. But yeah, so Sydney has to cook family meal, and she makes a delicious sounding stew, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But much like anything Carmi does, Tina and Ibrahim and Cousin Richie are all basically not about it. They don't like Sydney right off the bat.
The guys are texting me. You're telling them to do all sorts of weird shit backwards. Don't fucking do that, Carmen. Don't go mess without talking to me first.
I've talked a little bit about Cousin Richie here, but he does arrive late to work in the morning, bitching about things that Carmi's doing, but he arrives late due to child custody issues. Earlier in the episode, Carmi has sent out like a tweet or a text or whatever to tell everybody, or I guess it wouldn't be a text. So it's like a tweet and an Instagram post that there's going to be a tournament for one of the arcade machines in this restaurant. Ball breaker.
Yeah, when Richie came in and he was just losing his mind over like Carmi doing all sorts of stuff, and like from the audience perspective, like what Carmi's doing sounds fair, in at least in my opinion. I know like whenever I worked at Pizza Hut, like some of that stuff probably would have made working there a little bit more tolerable.
Yeah. Were you in like the kitchen at Pizza Hut, or did like I don't know how working at Pizza Hut goes. Were you in the reheating area, or like what did you do? Like I don't know.
So I did a few things while I was there, but mostly they had me on restock. So I was the one who was setting everything up for the morning shift.
Gotcha.
Putting all the pizzas in their tins so that they could defrost, and setting up the sauce, getting the pastas ready. It was like the most boring job I've ever done in my life, and I hope to never fucking do that shit again. Because fuck me, man. You crack one of those things, you try to go ahead and fix it, and then like you got to just throw it away because it's cracked. There's no point.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, I didn't have to deal with any of that. I would go and wait until they said they had deliveries, and then I would take those deliveries. My problems, as I've mentioned in the past, were always with people who had coupons that looked like they were cut out of the original Declaration of Independence, like exposed to light, and they start to crumble. Is it still valid? And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, then I don't want the pizza. I'm like, cool. I guess it's still valid. And then like one old lady tipped me $1. I was just like, well, thanks. Like,
that'll cover me getting from your door back to my car, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2000. No, it wasn't even 2000. It was No, it was the year 2000. So, I mean, $1 went a little bit farther then, but not by much.
Yeah.
I guess it got me more gas than it would now.
Now you'd put $1 in, and the gas station looks at you like,
My favorite was the people who tried to make up shit. They're like, in 30 minutes or you say 30 minutes or less, or it's free. I'm like, that is not Domino's policy. And they were like, well, we ordered 35 minutes ago. I was like, uh-huh. Yeah, I see that you're upset, and I do empathize with you, but I'm 17. And so I actually really don't give a shit. I'm just trying to get by.
Right. If you want that 30 minutes or less, go order from somewhere else.
Go order from somewhere that has that policy.
Yeah.
That'd be like if I went to Jack in the Box and be like, it's called Have It Your Way. And they'd be like, that's not our slogan.
I'm suing this place.
Yeah. Go to fucking Subway. Think outside the bun. Or that's not even their slogan anymore. Live Moss. Go to McDonald's. Just do it. Like, that's not even food.
You say that to a McDonald's employee, they're going to kill everybody there.
Go into Burger King. What's in your wallet?
Are you mugging me?
Yeah, exactly right. Sounds like I'm just attacking them. Yeah. So then, anyway, back to the episode. So Carmi has fucking decided to host this tournament for one of the arcade machines, a game called Ball Breaker. Carmi doesn't see how this would be an issue, but Richie's pissed off about it. He pretty much says like, these guys aren't going to buy shit and they're going to trash the place. And it looks like Carmi has attracted a lot of business. But as soon as line gets rowdy outside, Carmi goes to try to calm them down, and they basically like assault Carmi right off the bat, which I was like, get the fuck out of here. Tournament's canceled. Fuck you nerds. Right. And then Cousin Richie steps outside to save the day. He fires a gun in the air. I know it's Chicago, but I really do find it hard to believe that nobody, like, there wasn't one cop being like, what? Get over here. But yeah, Richie does this like great big monologue about like,
We are going to be on our best behavior. Also, I hate litter. So you cocks are going to clean up after yourselves, and you're going to goddamn recycle.
and I was like, all right, Richie's like an asshole with a purpose. You know, I won't say
Right.
with a heart of gold, but he's an asshole with a purpose.
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta
yeah.
say though, I'm surprised that Richie let in some of those people because like one of them was carrying around a hammer or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably one of those things like I'm dressed like a character in the game, and so maybe he took the hammer from him when he was actually inside. I don't
Fair
know.
enough.
I've been to a couple like E3s and conventions and stuff where people do that, and I've definitely seen security be like, "Yeah, I know it's like a fake blade, but you can't even have that. Like, we can't have
Yeah.
you walking around with a plastic sword and a scabbard, so we're gonna take that from you. You can pick it back up later."
I know that some of the conventions they would zip tie it so you couldn't open it.
Yeah, because zip ties are unbreakable. There's
Yeah.
no way you could find a corner somewhere and just rip open the zip tie. But yeah, and then so the restaurant ends with basically the first dinner service we see. We see that Richie is fighting with Carmi about how the restaurant should be run and talking about how, you know, we're not going to implement your high dining systems where you make food with fucking tweezers.
The good and use less
Which
grain.
is not how we have ever done a beef here in 25 years, Carm.
System, baby.
System. You can barely afford to pay people, but six system.
Fucking talk to me about labor.
I thought this was your house.
Fuck all this. Announcement. Listen up. Bread.
And shit like that. Basically doing the everyman critique of gourmet dining, which I think is a pretty fair take because that's how I feel a lot of times when I see some of this shit, like the fanciest dish I've ever served, and it's like 4 sprigs around like a 1 ounce loaf of meat with like a little fucking, I don't know, garnish volcano sticking out of it, and I'm just sitting there. How much is that? Is it, you know, oh, $99.95? Cool. I know that's maybe an American point of view where I'm like, if for $99.95, it better be a 72-ounce steak. But yeah, the flip side is like, you're really telling me like 3 snails and some basil, and you're like, that was worth 80 euros. You know, like,
I get it. You want me to pay for your time, but I also want to get a meal out of this.
well, and at a certain point, right, how much of it is like branding and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, or like just like the prestige of eating someplace. It's the sort of stuff that I think really like American culinary culture has yet to overcome because, I mean, we were just talking about Taco Bell and shit like that. How often have either one of us been to like a fancy, like a truly fancy restaurant? I've been maybe twice.
3 times. I think I had a girlfriend that wanted to go somewhere when I was in the army.
Yeah, so we went someplace after our wedding. Shout out Alexander Steakhouse, amazing food. And then we went a second time to Alexander Steakhouse because that place is amazing. There's a place here in town that's actually, it's like on the more fancy side of like casual fancy or like family fancy. I'd say it's like a step above your Black Angus's and your Olive Gardens in fanciness, which isn't much. Those are basically family casual. But this is the sort of place like they're not going to kick you out for your dress code, but they're going to look at you and like, I wish you'd worn something nicer. And you're gonna be like, yeah, me too.
You're skirting the line here, sir. Are you sure you can?
Along the lines of dress code, years and years ago, we used to go to this Brazilian steakhouse for work. My boss, once a quarter, he would spend our entire morale budget and go to this Brazilian steakhouse. For listeners who've never been, Brazilian steakhouses are all you can eat. They bring around meat on a sword, and you just tell them yes or no if you want the meat. It's a fantastic experience. Fogo de Chao is a pretty popular one, but this one's called Espadis. It was in San Mateo. I don't know if it's still open. I haven't looked in years because I don't live there anymore. But we would go there once a quarter. And so one time we had a bunch of new hires, and my boss goes, yeah, it's Espadis Day this Friday, blah, blah, blah. And 2 of my new hires were like, hey, what's the dress code for this? Because I don't have nice clothes. And I was like, well, I'm going to be wearing shorts with paint on them. So that's the bar you have to clear. Like, you can't look rattier than me. And not to be outdone, my boss, I didn't tell my boss any of this. He showed up in a oversized, like from like going down to his knees, giant Tupac shirt and camo shorts. And I was like, there you go. Anybody who's worried about dress code, that is the leader of our team. Like, he was a good boss, but like, yeah, you guys don't need to worry about dress code one bit because look at you guys. Like, look at him, look at me, right? I was wearing my aforementioned paint shorts. I was like, so yeah, like we're your bar. You just have to meet this. You don't even have to jump over it. Basically, if you would be allowed into a convenience store, that's the dress code for this restaurant. Like,
could you imagine if one of them had shown up in like a full dress suit or something like that? Because like I've been to Brazilian restaurants. You're gonna make a mess of whatever you're wearing.
Yeah, I did that once for a different outing by accident. I totally forgot we had like a team lunch that day, and a bunch of my friends and I used to do a thing called Fancy Friday because so many places had Casual Friday, but in Games QA, our only rule is don't wear your pajamas, and even then, most people were barely like on that rule. It's just something that our boss insisted on. But yeah, we used to do Fancy Friday, and then one day I forgot we were having a team lunch, so I show up in like my full suit. Like, my buddies do too. And my boss goes, dress it up for lunch, huh? Nice, bruh. Nice, bruh. And I was just like, oh, yeah, it's lunch today. Anyway. But yeah, so anyway, they have this tournament. Carmi throws this tournament. We never hear whether or not it's successful because we're kind of just led to believe that for whatever business it did drum up for the bear, it wasn't enough to offset their problems. This place is, I mean, we see multiple shots of Carmi just staring at bills and shit that's unpaid. It's pretty much how the show opens up right after the bear dream. And yeah, and so like Richie and Carmi start fighting about how the restaurant should be run. Carmi really wants to introduce his system, or like a system anyway, to make things run smoother. But he's getting a lot of resistance from Richie, and then because Richie's resisting, Tina and Ibrahim feel kind of entitled to also resist. Richie's mad because Carmi started some of the meat late, and Carmi's like, yeah, well, we didn't have any money for fucking bone out meat, so I had to get bone in, which takes longer to cook. And they get in this big fight in the fridge, and Richie starts going off on him about, you know, like, I was here every day with Michael. We found out that's Carmi's brother. I was here with them, blah, blah, blah. You know, this was our place. I ran this place. Not wanting to acknowledge the fact that, you know, the place he ran is massively in debt. But then fucking Carmi delivers him one of like the coldest fucking lines in the whole show, but it's so appropriate.
This is your brother's house, okay? Yeah, remember? I was running it fine without you.
Why didn't he leave it to you then?
I was like, oh, fuck. Like,
When Carmi said that, I was like, oh, hey, you got the meat that you need. It's right there. Cousin Richie is dead. He's gone.
Yeah, exactly. You can just chop that up. But then they get in a way. The episode continues. They get this big fight about spaghetti. Apparently, spaghetti was something they used to serve here. Carmi fucking won't do it. He's just like, I'm not serving this mushy shit. And I don't think this is supposed to be elitist. I think it's more about the way they made spaghetti, you know, in batch, made sure that like it was always going to be overdone and mushy.
Yeah. Well, he said that it took 7 hours to go ahead and prep and make.
Yeah, and so like it's a ton of effort, it's a ton of fucking, and it's not high quality. So obviously, fucking Carmi's not doing it. Richie fucking bitches him out, talking about how like, you're not gonna run this place right. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're out of your element here. Make the fucking spaghetti.
Swear to God, today was not the day to go fucking with the system.
System, cousin.
Hey, I don't care. I do not care what you do up in Napa with your fucking tweezers and your foie gras. You got no fucking idea what you're doing here. Get your ass back in there and you make that fucking spaghetti.
And the episode ends with Carmi opening a can of tomato sauce and then thinking about it and then chucking it in the trash.
Dude, I love that ending. I was like, yeah, fucking tell Cousin Richie to fuck off without telling him to fuck off.
Seriously. And I mean, it's like a nice symbolic moment, right? Is like Carmi right here could have just sunk into the ways that this restaurant was being run. And instead he by throwing that tomato sauce can in the trash, he fucking decides like, no, I'm going to do this the right way. All right, what are some big standout moments in this episode for you?
For me, like you said, the opening with the bear coming out, that was fun. We have the dialogue between, who was it? It was Marcus and Ibrahim. Your mom teach me during sex.
Marcus, I say something. You are my favorite bitch.
Oh, your English is getting tight, James. You kidnapping ship captains?
Your mom teach me doing sex.
Oh, that's not cool. I'll fuck with you. That's how you.
Yeah, that was good shit, dude.
I like whenever we go ahead and get to see Sydney kind of stand up for herself, because she doesn't really stand up for herself, and I didn't really mark anything down, but there were periods where she's like firing back little quips where I'm like, she's not going to just tolerate this sort of shit.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the other two that popped off in my head was Richie firing the gun and then going back into the store and going, sorry, babe, I had to use the gun.
Yeah. Sorry about the gun, bud.
And then, like I said, the end where Carmi throws the sauce in the trash. I was like, yeah, fuck cousin Richie, piece of shit.
Yeah. I like the explanation. So Carmi calls everybody chef, even though technically in a kitchen there's only the one chef. But he calls everybody chef, and he says, I do it out of respect. You know, we're all equals. And I was like, dude, that's dope. Like, that's actually a really smart idea. While Ringo's fixing his window, I want you guys all to know, if you go to 123 Washington Avenue, California, in Washington, you can just walk by his house and start mowing his lawn.
Well, the window's going to have to take a minute, and I guess the neighbor's just going to keep mowing because he didn't hear me go, fuck, man, come on.
I also like in this episode that Carmi straight up tells Sydney, I'm going to fix this place. Right? Like, it's like a little line, and it's kind of implied, but it's nice to hear him say that, like, yeah, this place sucks. It's not good right now, but it can be good. Which is the theme that'll get iterated on in the next episode. But who's your favorite character right now? As of one episode.
My favorite character right now, one episode. Ibrahim.
I like Sydney a lot. I think Sydney's actually what made me keep watching this show, because her reaction to everything going on, like the wide eyes and being like, are you guys fucking serious? I was like, that's how I'd feel working there. I have no culinary talent, but like I said, delivery guy. But yeah, the like her reactions to the people and being like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck is this? I would absolutely feel the same way.
Yeah, so my second choice was definitely Sydney, but for me, Ibrahim, I like his reactions to things, like Carmi coming around the corner and slamming into him, and he just starts shouting at Carmi like, Why you do this?
Yeah.
Why you do this?
I think he was the one who said when Carmi had him try the Italian beef sandwich, he was like, what do you think? And he was like, it's white and redundant like you.
Yeah, no, that was good. I fucking love that line.
I think we can both agree after one episode, our least favorite character is definitely Richie.
Yeah, fuck Richie.
Richie's a fucking huge asshole, and his case doesn't get helped too much here in the short term. But all right, we got to talk about food. Tell me that Italian beef sandwich didn't look delicious.
Dude, I had just eaten before starting this episode, and I was like, man, I could go for a sandwich.
Yeah, that sandwich looked fucking great. And then we didn't see it, but the meal that Sydney made for family meals sounded fucking fantastic. When she said it was stewed beef with plantains, rice, and salad, I was like, that sounds amazing, and I want it so bad.
Dude, that sounded amazing. I also like how she served it in like plastic cups and then did that like chef thing where you watch them like wipe the plate.
Yeah. It's so good. And then, yeah, like you actually mentioned this to me earlier or yesterday, I guess, but like this show really does make you kind of feel like hectic, right?
Yeah. it's nonstop. It's like after the dream, we basically jump right into it, and we get to see, like you said, Carmi dealing with bills, Richie showing up, the Carmi trying to go ahead and get meat, Sydney showing up, them trying to go ahead and fix the restaurant while still fighting against an uphill battle because everybody's set in their ways, and then like the contest, Carmi fighting with Richie again because I mean that never fucking stops, and then the end where Carmi's just like fuck the sauce,
Yeah.
like, and I know I'm making that shit like redundant and boiled down to like it's bare minimum, but I mean it's like 28 minutes and that shit all gets covered in that whole 28 minutes and it's not like underdone.
Yeah, it feels like the right amount of effort has been put into each piece.
Yeah.
I do like that there's that little scene of him teaching Marcus how to fix the problems he's having with the bread.
Dude.
And
that.
Because that's when Marcus is kind of like, all right, well, this guy might be new and he's certainly not Michael, but he seems to know what he's doing. Especially because he was trying to blame the whole issue on the mixer being broken. And Carmi was like, yeah, you can mix it all you want. Like, this isn't gonna do nothing.
I also like how Marcus after Carmi was like, hey, go ahead and put some water in the oven and it fixed the problem. He was like, thanks, chef.
Yeah.
And you see Carmi like like he doesn't do it, but I was imagining like a tear coming down his cheek there.
Shoots to like the inside of his head and it's just Squidward with one big tear coming down. Yeah, I think the other thing that really makes this episode work, we talked about it a little bit, but it kind of taps in either consciously or unconsciously to that feeling of time flies when you're super fucking busy, and the episode doesn't give you a chance not to be busy. I didn't even mention, but I listed off Sugar in the cast list, Abby Elliott. It's Richie's sister. So it would be Michael's sister as well, or not Richie's sister. It's Carmi's sister. It will be Richie's sister as well. But she shows up and she's kind of like, how is everything? You don't have to do this, right? And he's like, yeah, right. Well, whatever. Fuck you. And you're just like, wow, dude, this guy's an ass. Like he really is rude to Sugar, like right off the bat. But you could tell that they care. But even then, like that's the closest we get to a break for Carmi. Because otherwise, the entire day he is on his feet. He is running around. He is trying to put out fires, like literally and figuratively. And yeah, it's tense. But it's also, I think a lot of places where shows like this don't work is that they're a little unrealistic. I don't know how realistic this is to the food stuff because I don't really know how restaurants work despite having watched dozens of episodes of various TV shows about them. But I do know plenty of people that I would think would be stubborn enough that if their family member died and left them a business that was struggling, they'd be like, no, we'll make it work. And right, it's like, that seems strange.
Without realizing like they're killing the business around them while doing it that way.
Yeah, like they might be at least the cause of their own struggles to some extent, which is, again, something that's actually going to get touched on the next episode. But as we kind of round down or close up this first episode 1 here, do you think Carmi deserves to succeed? Do we like Carmi enough?
Honestly, with this episode, I was really kind of liking him enough that I want him to succeed. He's trying to change something that looks like shit into something better than that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of on the same board. I like, so my wife's also never seen the show, so I've been sitting down and rewatching it with her, going 2 episodes at a time. But we're sitting there. I was like, do I like this motherfucker? And by the end of the episode, I'm kind of like, I don't know if he's my favorite person. This is definitely not somebody I'd hang out with, but that's actually not really a qualifier because I'll talk to random weird people, but I won't hang out with just about anybody. And so, I mean, like, he seems like he knows what he's doing and what he wants to do. And it's just that he's so far behind the 8 ball in terms of like trying to make it, like just where he's starting from. That this just, I mean, like he's in a bad spot.
Well, he's really pulling on the American fantasy of the underdog taking on challenges that are above and beyond them and winning.
Got to do bootstraps.
Right.
Any other notes about episode 1 system? It's called system because he tries to implement his system. It's kind of showing that he's starting with chaos, so we have to get the groundwork first.
Audience, clean up your fucking mess after you're done with your kitchen.
Yeah, their kitchen is fucking disgusting.
Right?
And so, yeah, I think that's it. You want to take us out of here?
Well, Stream Wasteland, this has been the first episode of the Bear. I mean, the Bear Greg Bear. We've been streaming Wasteland. We're trying this whole new thing out. Hope you guys enjoy this. Go find us over on all the different social medias. Email us at streamwasteland@gmail.com and leave us a comment if you guys went ahead and watched the Bear. I've been your Uncle Ringo, and with me, as always, is Greg. Say goodbye, Greg.
Housekeeping. Clean up your station.
Chef.
Behind.
Behind.